YouTube universe, what is going on? Back again with another video. Hope you guys are doing well out there. So I'm here thinking of this past job that I worked, and you guys are familiar with it, Uber. I worked this job for several years, I want to say, in the past, right? Several years. And when I think about it now, I mean, maybe policies have been updated and changed, and they benefit the employees. I don't know, because I quit this job a long time ago. But when I was working there, it just felt like there was no incentive to really keep doing this. Like, first of all, you're driving your own vehicle, right? You're driving your own vehicle. You're putting strangers into your own personal vehicle and driving them where they need to go. So your car is going through wear and tear like crazy. Wear and tear. And sometimes you get a few measly dollars for dropping them off several blocks. Like significant blocks for like only a couple of measly dollars. When I think about it now, I'm like, man, that I must have been desperate as heck to do Uber. And they get you because they have the little surge program. So the surge is during certain times, I think, of the day or night, that you can get an increased wage for driving someone. At any specific time, they tell you there's a surge. And at this time, this is when people would get paid, like paid. You know what I mean? So people will use that and be like, yeah, I got to do Uber. I got to get out here and sit. There'll be times, to be honest, where I'm sitting and I'm waiting for a surge. I'm sitting around in the car waiting to see what area I can get a surge in. Just waiting for that notification. And there'll be times I would get none. And it'll just be regular pay, regular lousy pay. Literally, you're driving around to areas wherever they're telling you to go. And sometimes even the areas you drive to, you're paying toll. I did Uber when I was in New York, so I had to go through toll. So you're paying personal money for a toll just to get a couple of dollars. Like Uber, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. To me, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's people out there that really get paid for it and they know a strategy to do this job. But for me personally, it just did not work out for me. I just felt myself spending so much money to complete this job. And it was during a time when I was like, I need the money. I need quick money. You know those jobs where you get quick money? Uber Eats, DoorDash. These are jobs where you can get quick money for driving your own vehicle and delivering some form of service. But I thought of like the consequences, and I'm like, are these consequences truly worth it? That's what I started as a question. So with Uber, what consequences can you guys think of that will make you second guess if you want to do this in the first place? Let's go over it. I just mentioned one. So the first consequence of doing Uber, especially long-term Uber, is wear and tear on your vehicle. Now, I don't remember if they offered some kind of service to get your car done. I think they did. They offered some kind of incentive to help fix your car. Because with Uber, you're going to drive a lot. If you want to see a certain amount of money at the end of the day, you're going to be driving a lot. You're not just going to do Uber and get $25 total and then say, yeah, I'm done. I'm good. In this economy, you have to see a certain amount of money for you to be like, all right, I'm good for the day. Uber was so sporadic. Like, I didn't know what I would get paid in a day. And I would try to begin after my full-time job. I would try to begin like maybe late afternoon to see how much I can earn. That'll kind of be a supplement to my full-time job. And I don't get on anybody that chooses to do Uber, because Nowadays, we got to do what we got to do. There's a lot of people out here struggling financially, right? And we're just trying to figure it all out. I don't judge anybody for any kind of job that they do, but I will just reflect on my experience, and I'll say how I felt during Uber times. So that was one of the big consequences I felt with driving my vehicle all around. Like, I constantly had to get an oil change. I constantly had to do certain things with the car. It was just like, I'm spending more than I'm earning. When you spend more than you earn, it's time to rethink what you're doing. Seriously. Another consequence of working a job like Uber is you're letting complete strangers get into your car. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen horror stories on the news when it comes to strange people just entering your vehicle. Have you guys seen some stories of drivers being threatened or drivers just being spoken to a certain way? And all that driver was trying to do is just make some money. I've heard a bunch of stories already about this. And that was actually one of my fears. Like, getting a crazy person. I'm picking up a crazy person, and today's that day. I got to deal with the consequences. It was scary, to be honest, to think that at any particular moment, you can get a crazy person into your car. And that just may be the last time you drive. Not to sound grim, but seriously, it could happen, right? I know some of us carry protection, which I'm a big advocate on, carrying protection. I'm a big advocate on that. You need to carry protection nowadays. There's just too much foolishness and craziness going on around us for you to just walk around with nothing, thinking you're okay. I believe in faith with action. So you better pray, say a prayer, and load up at the same time. You can't just say a prayer and don't take action. A lot of people will pray to God like he's a genie. God is not a genie. You have to follow up with action after you say that prayer. That's what I believe in. Faith without works, say it with me, is dead. Hebrews 11:1. What are you going to do when you say that prayer? What are you going to do? How are you going to protect your family? How are you going to go out to know that I'm going to have this just in case? Have that insurance on you, just in case. So here's one of the stories of Uber that I felt like it was like late at night. I think it was around, I'm trying to remember the time it was. So I was doing Uber for the entire day. I remember that. And then it got to like maybe around 11 p.m., 12 a.m. next morning. And this was a sign from God. I really think this was a sign that really just shed light on everything that's been going on. My progress in life, it just shed light on what I should really be thinking about and what I shouldn't be thinking about. So I got this notification, and as soon as I saw the name on the notification, because Uber, they show you, I don't know how it is now, but when I worked for Uber, they showed you the name of the person. They showed you the name of the person that you're picking up with a picture. So the name that I saw, I kid you not, I almost had to rub my eyes when I saw this name. The name that I saw pop up on my phone at around 12 a.m., Lucifer. I saw the name and I was like it was like sunlight just hit my eye, and I had to rub my eye a couple times. Lucifer. I said, oh, hell no. I'm done for the night. I shut the app off completely. I wasn't playing around that. I'm not picking up Lucifer after midnight. Granted, he could have been the best gentleman. I don't know. But in my mind, and how this world is, I'm not about to pick up nobody named Lucifer at after 12. I'm sorry. My night is over. I shut the app down and I went straight home. And I just started to really rethink about Uber. And I was like, should I be doing this long term? I mean, I've had several encounters where it was just weird. I've picked up drunk people, of course. That's the number one thing you got to expect when you do Uber, especially if you're around a college campus. You got to expect that. And I've heard several stories of people vomiting in people's cars. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to deal with all of that. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to deal with the cleanup and trying to clean your car, get them home. And is that really worth it? Is that really worth it? And you start asking yourself, like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. I know back in the day, I don't know if they still do this, but when they do make a mess in your car like that, I think what they do is Uber, they give you money to get it cleaned. Something along those lines. I'm not sure what the whole protocol with that is now, but I don't even want to go through that process. I don't want it to happen, and I don't want to go through the process of getting that clean. Because if that happened to your vehicle, you're going to want that cleaned right away. Right away. And it was just too much. Like, I've had weird people enter. And the thing about having weird people behind you as you drive, it doesn't, the back of your neck feels vulnerable. It really does. Like, you're just looking in that little, the rear view mirror. You're looking at it, glancing sometimes at the person, and it's like, what are you doing back there? You will ask yourself that question when a weird person enters your vehicle. And by weird, I mean people who come into your vehicle and they just do peculiar things that you don't feel a normal person is going to do inside your car. And I've had that encounter way too many times. And it just felt uncomfortable. It didn't feel right. Something about that just did not feel right. And I knew in my mind, this is something I don't know if I'm going to continue to do long term. Don't get me wrong. Uber is one of the jobs where you have the freedom to just drive people around, get them the way they're going. You have the experience of meeting new people. Some of these people are very interesting, but I'm just letting you know the experience I had. And I like the freedom of it, but I also did not like the dangers of it. Because I've heard too many horror stories of people getting robbed in Uber. And I feel like Uber should have some kind of precautionary action for their drivers. I feel like their drivers are just we're way too vulnerable for just anybody to just come into our car and do whatever. You know what I mean? There needs to be something in place that protects the drivers. I don't know the protocol now, and if it's the same as when I was driving, but there needs to be something that Uber gives to their drivers that helps to protect, because you got drivers out here trying to just feed their families. Just trying to feed themselves and their families. I respect every hustle as long as it's not hurting anybody, But to be honest, not every hustle is safe. There's hustles out there that you don't know if you're going to get home at the end of the night. Your chances of getting robbed or killed is exponentially higher compared to other jobs. Uber, you have a high risk of getting robbed, especially if you're dropping people off in a nice car. You don't know what that other person thinking. They could be scoping out your car while you're driving them, like, oh, look at this. Leather seats. This feel nice. Oh, they got the rear heated seats. Oh man, you don't know what they thinking about. And it could be like, oh, just drop me close to that alley over there. You see that dark alley right there? Just drop me right in front of it. For have somebody out the alley come there and dump you out the car like it's Grand Theft Auto. You don't know. And this, I guess this is part of my situational awareness, because I'm trying to understand and be more aware of my surroundings, right? I'm not trying to just be just anywhere and not look around. There's certain areas, there's certain times where people will try to take advantage of you. Dark alley is like a giveaway. There's at no point in time where you should be in front of a dark alley. None. No point in time. No cartoon that you've watched in the history of cartoons, or a movie that you've watched in the history of movies, has there ever been a positive moment in front of a dark alley? Bruce Wayne will tell you that. I'm sure other characters will tell you that in the movie. Any scene that is in front of a dark alley, you don't want to be there. Now you just want to be safe and be aware of your surroundings. Situational awareness, understanding that there could be a potential danger ahead of you, and you may not know it's coming, but if your situational awareness kicks in, now you're looking around even more. Now you're kind of not expecting, but understanding that it can possibly happen in certain situations. There are people that when they go to a movie theater, when they go to a restaurant, they strategically sit in certain places. Have you noticed some people like this? Maybe someone that's been in the military. They are trained to watch. They are trained to watch for a reason, because they know the dangers of the world. This is not paranoia. This is just knowing that the world is a dangerous place. Yes, it's a beautiful place as far as aesthetic wise, but there are dangerous people here. There are dangerous people with dangerous minds lurking on people that are unexpectedly walking in the street, looking at their phones, not paying attention, have their headphones on their ears, not paying attention, not looking around. Those are people that are potentially victims. Because they're not looking around to see what's going on. So like I was saying, there's people that will strategically sit certain places in a restaurant. And if they can't get that specific seat, they're not sitting down. Now, you could be like, oh, that person is too paranoid. How can you live like that? But then again, maybe that's their point. They want to live. They want to live. They want to be able to watch out for their family. They want to be able to watch out for people who they care about. Because they've seen time and time again, when you don't pay attention, bad things could possibly happen. Freak accidents. So they will sit strategically in a restaurant where they can get a whole view of everybody walking into that restaurant. Do you guys know anyone like this? Do you guys know people who will not sit with their back to a door? Like they literally have to see who's coming through that door. And there's people who have great memories. They can remember who's walking in, what they wore, how they look. I'm not up to that par at all to know that, to have that kind of sharp memory. But I think that's like a detective. That's like a detective memory. If you can remember all of those things, that's great. But honestly, like I said, we have to be more vigilant in the society. We got to be more vigilant. We cannot just keep going on in this world like there's not dangers around us. In any 9-to-5 job that you do, please please be situationally aware of your surroundings. Understand where you are. Understand the dangers that can possibly happen. Not saying for you to be paranoid, but just understand, be aware of anything that you are doing, any place that you're going. Don't have your phone attached to your hand while you're crossing the street or you're walking down the alleyway. Not an alleyway, sidewalk. Stay away from the alleyways. Real talk. Till next time, guys. Peace.